bitter criticism. Reading, although what? Let's read Russia Today. In this demonstration day, today there was a demonstration from fishermen, and then a lot of people came to the demonstration too. People, Mapuche people. So there's a lot of complaints. Chilean society is full of problems. There's a journalist dead. There's also a journalist from Al Jazeera dead. There's a lot of journalists dead. March 25, home, World News. Kremlin slams international reaction to Ukraine killing Russian journalists. Many organizations refuse to respond, spokesman Dmitry Peskov has said. And there's a photograph. There's two journalists dead. A makeshift memorial for Zvezda TV channel staff killed by a Ukrainian strike in Lugansk at the channel headquarters in Moscow. Looks like he's a journalist and a photojournalist dead. The international community failure to respond to the killings of Russian journalists by Ukraine is inexcusable, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said on Tuesday. On Monday, 3 members of a Russian news crew were killed in a Ukrainian attack while reporting from the Lugansk People's Republic. The incident marked the latest in a series of deaths of Russian media workers since the escalation of the Ukraine conflict in 2022. Quote, "We constantly draw the attention of the international community to acts of assault, intimidation, attacks, and attempt murders of journalists in the conflict zone. We consider the reaction of the international community to have been extremely inadequate. Many simply refuse to respond, which is inexcusable," end quote, Peskov told reporters on Tuesday. The attack claimed the lives of Alexander Fedorchak, a reporter for the newspaper Izvestia, Andrei Panov, a cameraman for Zvezda TV, and Alexander Sirelkli, their driver. So, a car driver too. 3 people died. Look, there's I guess this is a Lada truck. It was a terrorist attack. Maybe I'm going to read that too. Moscow condemns Kiev's terrorist attacks on journalists. Their vehicle, marked as press transport, was reportedly struck by 2 missiles fired from a U.S. supply Ukrainian HIMARS multiple rocket launcher system. The Russian Foreign Ministry accused Ukrainian forces of terrorism. Russia's human rights ombudswoman Tatiana Moskalkova said that she will seek condemnation of Kiev's actions from international organizations. According to Peskov, quote, "The fire was precision guided. The Ukrainians specifically wanted to kill the journalists. The Kiev regime continues its atrocities against unarmed journalists. This is the essence of the Kiev regime," Peskov added. Earlier this year, another Izvestia journalist, Alexander Martemianov, was killed in a Ukrainian drone attack in the Donetsk People's Republic. The Russian Foreign Ministry has demanded that international organizations such as UNESCO, the OSCE, the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, respond to Kiev's, quote, "continuing efforts to kill Russian media staff in cold blood," end quote. According to Russian President Vladimir Putin, more than 30 Russian journalists have been killed in the conflict zone since 2022. Yeah, there's zero guarantee of being a journalist. I'm sorry, but I remember Pepe Escobar. It was in Donetsk Republic, and he was all in black, but that's zero guarantee, you know. In November, Russia accused UNESCO of failing to include deadly Ukrainian attacks on Russian journalists in its latest biannual report covering the global state of journalist safety in 2020, 2022, 2023. And I guess I'm going to read this one. So there's no internet in Chile. Breaking news. Breaking news. No internet. NL, there's no internet. Moscow condemns Kiev's quote-unquote terrorist attacks on journalists. Ukrainian forces target 2 TV crews in separate attacks in a single day. The file photo as I showed. And says Kursk region, South Kursk region. The Russian Foreign Ministry has condemned Ukrainian attacks which killed 3 members of a news crew and injured several others in the Lugansk People's Republic (LPR) and Kursk region on Monday. The incidents were further proof of Kiev's quote-unquote terrorist nature, spokesman Maria Zakharova said. According to Moscow, Ukrainian forces launched a, quote, precision-guided artillery strike, end quote, on civilian vehicle in the LPR mark as press transport on Monday. The attack claimed the lives of Alexander Fedorchat, a reporter for Izvestia, Andrei Panov, a cameraman for Zvezda TV, and their driver, Alexander Sirekli. Another Zvezda correspondent, Nikolai Goldin, was seriously wounded in the same incident, so 4 people in the car. In a separate attack on the same day, TASS reporter Mikhail Skuratov was injured by shrapnel while on assignment in the Zudzansky district of Russia's Kursk region, which borders Ukraine. Quote, the Kiev regime has once again demonstrated its terrorist, savage nature, Zakharova said in a statement early Tuesday morning. Quote, the series of brutal reprisals against Russian journalists by Ukrainian neo-Nazis is yet another proof of their readiness to commit any crimes against the civilian population without hesitation, including media workers, who are protected under international humanitarian law as outlined in the 1949 Geneva Conventions and Additional Protocol 1, end quote. Zakharova accused Kiev of escalating attacks on civilians as a result of its failure to achieve military success. Quote, the number of these terrorist attacks is increasing proportionally to the neo-Nazi regime's growing understanding of its inability to inflict any damage on the Russian armed forces, end quote, she added. Moscow called on international bodies, including the Director General of UNESCO, the OSCE Representative on Freedom of the Media, and the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights to issue strong condemnations. Quote, the continued cold-blooded killings of Russian media workers demand proper attention and response for international institutions, end quote, Zakharova stated, warning that silence or evasive rhetoric will only, quote, demonstrate their inability to uphold their mandates impartially, end quote. Zvezda TV reported that their crew was allegedly targeted by 2 projectiles fired from a U.S. supply Ukrainian HIMARS multiple rocket launcher system. Moscow has repeatedly said that Kiev cannot operate such advanced systems without direct Western assistance. So maybe, so yeah, things are not looking so great. Maybe there will be World War III.